I'm on the.
Welcome back. Oh man.
Oh look, we're live.
Oh man, you know I started. All right, cool. Welcome back, everybody. All right. So the interesting thing about this episode.
Are they gonna be part of?
Wow. Hey, whenever you guys are ready.
This is amazing.
Then jump on anytime you want to at this point. Now, the interesting thing about today is that I just met these folks. Well, I met you two already. I just met you guys. I met you once before, I think, at one of the other events. And Miss Genaire here, we've just met you guys. There's a mix of opportunity available here today. It's unbelievable. It's incalculable in my perception with Mr. Mike Acosta joining us here today. Mike Acosta joining us here today. So, Mike,
Sit over there.
tell us, well, tell you what, we're learning today. I think it's one of the factors that we're learning today. Share with us a little bit about your information. We're going to be sharing information about everybody here today and maybe other folks, okay? And as I move around, it's really just to let people know that you go around.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yes.
So it's one of those natures that we're looking for creating an advantage with regards to the communication tools that we're using. That's what we do here at the Premium Advantage with your membership. With your membership, thepremiumadvantage.com. All right?
Subscribe.
All right? Our co-host, Mr. Jacinto.
Howdy, everyone out there. Where are we? Which side are we on?
Yeah, you're everywhere. You know
we're
it's
everywhere. We're everywhere. Go to superfunkyfresh.com so your super funky fresh gear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I should remind y'all as we learn, these are some of the things that I've learned, okay, with regards to this situation. One, I kind of need to look at this so that I can make sure that this thing is still rolling. Another thing is, because of your distance or where you are, you may be the one that's kind of farthest away because that device is the mic. Okay? You can hang out just to let you know, I may move this here closer as you speak and things of that nature. We're all learning, And so in the introductions, if I wanted to introduce Mr. Dana.
Yes, all right. You may stand.
This is the
Whatever you like.
This is the audience right here. This is the audience, and then this is the audience. And so, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about you, and then we'll speak about Mr. Mike, we'll talk about Lance, and Miss
Genaire.
Genaire. Yes, perfect. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you a little story about how I got involved. So I'm dana.oliva with the Alliance Insure Group. I'm the benefit strategist there. I help protect my clients from unexpected medical costs. Mm-hmm. And 8 years ago, I had a medical event that put me in the hospital. Mm. And I had coverage under my wife's plan.
Okay.
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Blue Cross, yeah.
And I got out of the hospital 8 days later, and I got my first bill.
Oh, yeah.
And the next one.
Yeah,
And
that'll
the
do
next
it.
one.
Yep.
And I was covered, just not the way I thought it was.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I thought how miserable I was at the time. And I had been in IT support for 27 years.
IT support, 27 years.
Yes.
IT, information technology.
Yes.
For those folks who don't know, there's different layers. So you were in information technology. There was an event, and then now.
So once COVID hit, I found myself out of work. So I worked with Shell IT International, with Exxon Mobil, Greyhound Bus Lines, and CVS Pharmacies. Well, the bus lines went away immediately once COVID hit. The gas and energy sector tanked because no one was going anywhere. So I lost those contracts, and then CVS Pharmacies ended up shrinking their account. So I lost that contract as well. I was approached by the parent organization, and they had a message of one of hope. So help other people every day.
Yeah.
It is what I love doing now.
Good.
I use my opportunity to educate people. Most people don't really understand exactly how insurance works. They understand the word deductible, the word co-insurance, but what does it actually mean? How does it affect you?
Yeah.
Okay? And I help people find out what that number is that they're comfortable with, and then give them an avenue to get there, or multiple avenues. It's really up to them. But I kind of present the information so that they are aware of what is available.
Right.
And then from there, it's up to them to make that educated decision.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm not always a good fit. Sometimes I can refer them over to one of my partners that specializes in a certain area.
Yeah.
And I've worked with over the last couple of years, and they usually do really good work because they want to make me look good by making themselves look good.
Yep.
So I always recommend those individuals when I'm not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. Now, just so you know, just so you're aware, just so the folks are aware, we also offer insurance on the Premium Advantage. Mostly we deal with home, auto, things of that nature, commercial insurance. While there is a health department situation, professionals like you are always in high demand in my perception because there's a lot of folks looking for this information. And the insurance companies per se don't really have teams of folks to educate. I don't think there's an education.
They have marketing.
That's right.
That's what they have.
They don't have an education. I mean, maybe they do. But I'm just saying. So these are some of the things. So information like yours, I perceive, is extremely valuable to folks that we cannot market with regards to the types of plans and solutions that you guys have. Well, we have a lot of solutions and advantages around, and the reason why we're here is so that we can create those extensions where it's like, I cannot help you with this particular, but I'm not a professional. Within an episode, Dana, you can reach out. You know what I'm saying? So this is the nature of, and so the detail of that information greatly helps in finding the solutions.
Not to mention the changes that have happened. Like I feel like everybody has a story that starts with, and then COVID happened, and right, and that's kind of like, right. We all have that situation. It's it's interesting avenues that we're doing. We know what we're doing, but these curveballs that hit us with COVID, but it's a blessing in disguise. I feel for personally. Do y'all feel the same?
Yeah, I do. I never would have gotten into this field, which I find rewarding.
Yeah.
You know, even if I don't end up selling a product to someone, they at least get that seed planted in their mind about what good insurance looks like and what to avoid.
There you
and
go.
they're going to take that with them for the rest of their life.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's excellent. That is excellent.
That's
That is
huge.
excellent. When we get folks that are savvy about insurance, I'm like, oh man, this makes things so much easier as opposed to give me the cheapest rate. It's like, oh yes, we can do that. However, do you know what that means?
Yeah, when you go with the cheapest rate, that's how much it costs if you never have to use it.
Yeah, right, correct.
If you do have to use it, that's when all the deductibles and the pockets and the big numbers that people, can't recover from.
Or they weren't aware, but I thought I was insured. Yeah, but there's little details about the coverage, going through those. Yeah, exactly. So, thank you very much for this information. I think it's very valuable. All right. Is there more information that you like, or is anybody else that is interested in Mike Acosta, Lance? What do you have? What's up? Who's next? I went first.
You want to go next?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Lance Edwards, and I am the VP, Valor Solar.
Valor, bam.
The solar movement has
Solar movement.
shone upon us, right?
Yeah.
It's shining every single day. So we have a motto at our little local Houstonian company.
Okay.
We want to be based for the residents here of Houston that don't get told the right things about the decision to go solar. What you need to know about the solar industry, not just what you want to hear.
Sure.
So again, everybody wants to hear that you're never going to have an electric bill again, right? That's the whole hype.
Yay.
Well, I have solar. Why don't I have an electric bill anymore? But the reality is you're always going to have an electric bill because of the regulations from the state of Texas. And then the main thing with the solar industry is, before you pick a company, because everybody's going to look at 2, 3. I had a guy in Austin, Coppers Cove area. He looked at 14 different companies. But you got to be able to trust those people, and you got to make sure you can afford it. So trust and affordability goes a long way when you're shopping around for such a huge purchase, because these systems can be anywhere from $22,000 to $122,000.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, it just depends on how much energy you use.
Gotcha.
So I like to tell a story about myself, because how can I sell something that I don't actually own myself?
Sure.
Right? I moved into a house out into the Richmond area. It was $385 a month for my utilities. Pool was cranking, the AC was cranking. Made some adjustments, put in some efficient windows, built what's considered an 80% solar system, right? I pay $298 a month fixed for my energy costs.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull this up right here. I connected with Rhythm Energy. Energy Texas is another one too. What's that say right there? What was my bill last month?
Show it to these guys.
Oh, you tell me.
Oh my goodness, hold on, it's too quick. $10?
$10. Yeah, my bill was $10 last month
You got me to
from
say
Rhythm
it.
Energy. So I
You
paid
got me to say it. You got me
$298
to
plus
say it.
10. So would you all agree that 308 is less than 385?
Pretty much.
And that's the power of solar.
And have an asset.
Okay.
Right. So, but you got to have somebody that understands how to build that, and how to explain that to you as well.
Okay.
And look, we've all been 25 once. and we've all had some kind of sales job or dealt with somebody in sales in our lifetime, and it's all about getting the money because you want to spend it faster than it lands in your pocket.
Yeah,
Sure.
And the same goes for all the youngsters out there. There's no license to sell solar. Respect to you, Dana. You have a license to sell insurance. Got to have a license to be a lawyer. Got to have a license to be a doctor. You don't have a license to go sell a $60,000 system in someone's home. So if you're listening, Attorney General's office, Paxton, anybody in Austin, anybody in Washington DC. No. If you're listening, you need to regulate it. Hey, let's just be real. People are getting screwed every single day.
I'll tell you what.
By solar guys.
What I think the information is not being conveyed in such a way where the information is actually appropriately received.
Right.
The interaction is so fast. The information is so much, right? And like the due diligence with regards to the salesperson is not as high typically when it goes to that type of investigation.
And that's how myths are created. That's how these FAQs are created. Where people are creating these standard questions, just like, I've already answered those.
Yes.
So not everybody has that information.
Yes.
Right. I mean, there's a list of probably more than 25 to 30 questions that you need to go through when you're sitting in someone's living room, dining room, and addressing their financials,
So if somebody gives you only 10 questions,
Sure.
you go, right, if you're watching this, if it's not Lance doing the install, he's not in the room, and he's not giving you 30 questions, and it's somebody else giving you only 5 or 10 questions, you go, hey, what's up with the other 20?
Yeah, the 3 red flags. Let's give somebody something productive. Let's go low.
Productive.
Let's do things
people.
right.
Yes.
So this is your 3 red flags for anybody that goes solar. First of all, if they tell you it's free, tell them to leave your front door.
Okay.
Get out of here. Right?
Is the sun not free?
Yeah.
You know what's happening?
You're still paying for the equipment on top of the roof. So
Gotcha.
No, and that's why I said affordability, right? So basically what you're going to do is spend exactly the same or a little bit less than what you're already giving to the utility company. You're just redirecting it into something you own rather than leasing the utility company every single month. So there's an actual advantage to owning something. Right?
Did you see the advantage?
Whoa.
There might be a premium advantage. Right. So number 1, if they say it's free, say get out of my house, right? Number 2 is just straight up, plain and simple. You will have a solar bill and a utility bill. You will always have a utility bill. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? You will not have a utility bill anymore. No, the solar guy listening to the Premium Advantage podcast told me that you need to get out of my house right now because I will have a bill.
And on top of that, there's a factor with regards to a tax refund situation, a credit.
Oh yeah, well that's a whole different story.
But the Premium Advantage, that's
Got
taxes.
some CPAs that know. They know.
Not a CPA disclosure.
So the 2B will be find someone who knows how to explain the tax system to you to see if you're actually going to receive that incentive.
We can 100%.
Most people do, but not everybody does.
We can 100% explain it. It's easy.
These guys can
like
do it.
Like this. If you don't pay taxes, there's no credit for you.
See ya.
If you don't pay taxes, because this credit is for folks that are in a bracket where they're paying taxes. So keep that in mind. If your income is in a bracket where it's so low that there's no taxes paid, then there's no credit for this particular situation happening to you with regards to this particular install. Okay, that's the nature of how the credit is applied.
Right.
So keep that in mind as you make your. So sometimes we'll see folks with income that does not create a tax, and they're like, "Oh, where's my credit?" And it's like, well, if you
owe money, you're not going to see $1. Bottom line.
So.
And then the third most important thing, right?
So.
If that person doesn't schedule a follow-up with you on the same day that they sign you up for you to receive or to give them $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, make sure they're signing up a 6-month and a 12-month. Yeah. Even if you really, really like them, you can give them that third hint, like, hey, are you going to follow up with me to make sure my system's working? Because a lot of guys, they'll just take your number, right? They're at the appointment with you. They get the signature, the John Hancock on the blue line, and then when they drive back across the river, they throw the phone in the river, and they're So don't be in association with those guys. You got to have the trust, and you got to make sure it's affordable for you. So trust and affordability. What you need to know about solar, not just what you want to hear.
And so everything is not for everybody. And so at least at this point, disclosure, all the information that we're sharing is from our perspectives. Does that make sense? So you should get, if you get 2 or 3 more sources that back up this information or deny this, what you should do in that sense. You know what I mean? I don't perceive in my perception that anything will be like, yes, this is accurate information. And we want to be able for folks in 1 year from now to come back and go, these guys from the show were mentioning this exact thing that just happened. And it's the nature of this. It's a subscribe to the channel. So you can share the information. Okay.
And if you know somebody who has solar, tell them to contact these guys to see if they're going to potentially get
members
tax credit.
Well, what we can do is an estimate. You know,
Right.
you can do an estimate. With
Right.
estimates, and there you go.
I have a question.
Yes,
Sure.
Go.
I'm sure you've heard this question before, and you threw it in there when you were speaking about solar. How do we get the laws changed? How do we get these? I mean, I'm not sure what other states are doing.
Since wants it free.
Yeah.
Since wants it free.
Yeah, I just want. I'd like to be able to. I want to go out to the middle of nowhere and just put a solar panel up and just hook myself up. And just,
I get my breakfast cooking with my little solar panel.
Yeah, like states like Florida, for example.
Oh, okay.
The state of Florida is not rewarding solar itself, but they're rewarding getting solar battery backup for your home rather than buying a bunch of generators that run on gas, natural gas, or fuel.
Oh, I see.
So, like, if you buy a battery, like the companies are going to sell them to you for $20,000 or $15,000 to $20,000,
Wow.
but the state of Florida is going to give you a $5,000 or $2,500 rebate per battery or something. So, the state of Texas could start with that.
okay. So
But if I'm telling you, like, man to man here,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you to get solar for your home. It's going to give you an automatic savings by fixing it and avoiding inflation over the next 20 years long term. And I'm going to use your savings to go buy a natural gas home generator. Because when Hurricane Ike hits part 2, you don't want to be running on a solar battery.
Yeah.
Well, question. What is the nature?
Okay, that's good information.
What is the nature of, like, okay, I have a decision, I've thought about it, I give it some time,
Yeah.
okay? From the time that you're like, yes, I'm interested, to the time that, you know, $10 bill.
Yeah.
So repeat that one more time. So when you see the actual work in motion?
From the moment that I sign to the time that, hey, my bill comes in where I can go, everything is installed, ready to go. What is this time frame?
So in the city of Houston,
Sure.
right? About 45 to 60 days between the day you sign up and the day you get installed. Then you have to be inspected and approved, right?
Yeah.
So they have to approve to turn you on. That's called PTO,
Yes.
permission to operate.
Yes.
And then once you're functioning, that could be 90 days after the day you sign the
Yes.
contract. It could be 120 days, right?
We back? All right.
So it could be a 2 to 4 month process is what we tell people. Obviously, people get more bulked up in the summertime because they're mad about their Reliant bill. Sorry, Reliant. No, you charge way too much. So people get mad about that, and they want to go solar. So they don't realize that the other 6 million people in Houston also have the same concept in the back of their head. But in the wintertime, right?
Sure.
Bills are low, so people are like, why do I want to go solar? Like, my bills are low right now. But no, typically in Houston, if your system is built correctly, between 7 to 8 months out of the year, you're going to have about a $10 bill, but you'll still have a big of a bill in the summertime.
As somebody that's not a CPA, that's not a CPA, but there just is a little bit of information here with regards to the tax credit. If you happen, this would be a reasonable time for you to actually get one of these installed, okay? If you happen to get a bump in your pay grade, right? You're like, now you were making some amount and now you're double, maybe triple, right? So you're like $200,000-300,000 a year, and then now you did not take any of your deductions, and you've got this big old house. You may consider this particular year. I'm not saying to do that, but there may be an advantage for you.
If you bought a house 3 years ago and you think like in the next 5 years you're going to sell, in that 8 year time period, do you think you got $50 to $60, $70, $100,000 equity sitting right there for you?
Yeah.
So basically, you can just build that into the equity of the home and buy solar with it.
Welcome back.
You're going to get an ROI.
Yes.
She wants to say she left and she came back
First
in. though.
double.
She heard us say equity. She was like, I like free money in my pocket. But no, you can utilize your equity. You can your hidden assets, right?
Gotcha.
That's why you buy a house, to have the equity. So if you have $100,000 sitting in the back of your house that you're going to sell for later, you can pay off that system. You can transfer the loan.
Sure.
There's so many different things you can do. Real estate agents, for the most part, they hate having to sell homes with solar, but it's usually problems that happen on the buyer's end.
Yeah.
Because the sellers really don't know what to do. But that's why maybe Realtor Association, Board of Realtors,
Sure.
I'd love to get some CEU classes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Those
Some
are included in
continuing
some of your
education,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay, go to your website and register for those. How would they register?
No, I got to register first and then just
Okay.
make them.
I got you. So contact you
contacts.
somehow. You're gonna give us a link.
I stay in a lot of contact with a lot of real estate
Okay.
agents.
Is there a link that we can share on the description so they can go? Oh,
Sure. My website's www.valor-solar.com.
If you send it, if you send us a logo, we'll put it on here. Folks will reach out to you, and then that'll be the nature of some realtors that I go, hey, I can get this credit watching this episode, and I can talk a little bit more cohesively with regards to
Right.
So this is some nice options. Thank you very much for being here.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Mr. Oh, hold on one second. So we're going through the switch. Testing.
All right.
Yes. All right. So now, Mr. Mike Acosta. Thank you, beautiful.
you.
Intros. We love intros. And today we got so many, so much information that is so valuable from folks that have so much experience in this, in the local Houston environment. It's another factor that we try to include into this whole mix of things. Okay, local Houston environment. Mike, would you mind sharing a little bit of information about yourself, about your history for your Houston, so that the folks, the audience can get to know you a little bit better?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a native Houstonian. I'm a co-owner of a online media company called Houston City Beat.
Houston City Beat?
Yeah, Houston City Beat.
Something about that
beat.
HCBTV.
Something about that beat. And when you thank you. That's it. Thank you to do the background. Like HCTV beat. Every little drop in, we're going to do that.
I like it.
But HCBTV is a flagship of Houston City Beat. It's online original content, stories from in and around the Houston area. And when you talk about, we have the tagline, there's just something about that beat. We talk about Houston is the big city with a small town charm. We have the Woodlands, we have Pearland, Tomball, Katy. We got all these outlying areas. And together we have the pulse of one. And there's just something about that beat, the Houston City Beat. And I got to give Lisbeth Marquez total credit for that. She had that. She's my business partner with Houston City Beat. She's on the other side handling the other part of this meeting.
Other part of this meeting?
There's this other things happening simultaneously.
Simultaneous, wonderful things.
This connected collaboration. But we put this together. We evolved it. We went through a brand refresh late last year and into this year, developing Houston City Beat, back the badge. Pitch It to Me. We have now online still graphics that we have. And what we've done is we've been able to bring small businesses. Lisbeth was always about helping the small business and helping them, bring them along, get them to a point where they could communicate their message to clients and prospective customers. And so what we did was we reskinned Houston City Beat as kind of a television, radio station with podcasts, with original television content. And we're doing it the way that the local television stations used to do it, which is sell content to the local market and allow the small business owners to come back and feel like they can afford it again. Because now we have Comcast, all these big conglomerates that own NBC, Disney owns ABC, all this and forth, they're all under one umbrella. And what happens is you lose the getting back to the way it used to be, where you had a local personality that people really believed in, that you could go out there, you could talk to them. They would come out to your place and do an interview. You'd have a morning show that was locally centralized and just telling a lot of good stories from in and around, except the train wrecks and the murders that you see on the news. So that's what we wanted to do with Houston City Beat and allow businesses to come back and have something that's affordable to where they can advertise and get into these local markets again. So if they are in Katy or if they are in Cypress or Pearland, whatever it is, even all the way down to Texas City and Galveston, we can curtail something to that market. And so we've gone all around. We've done 3 episodes of Houston City Beat. The third one is coming out this week. It's a lot of work. We do a lot of production, a lot of filming. We actually wrapped up filming for the 3rd episode yesterday. But it's a lot of fun, and it's really great. I have a communications and broadcast background. Like I said, I'm from Houston. I'm a native Houstonian. I spent 22 years with the Houston Astros.
Wow, 22 years.
22 years.
A lot of experience.
Yeah, 22 years, won a few rings. And it was a great experience, but I was able to, and like you were saying earlier, COVID, right? So COVID really allowed a lot of people to reset. And baseball teams, we weren't playing games and couldn't allow fans in, and they started to lay off employees, and that's what happened to me. But what that allowed me to do is get a life back and get into a project. And I met Lisbeth, and we got together and reskinned Houston City Beat. And without COVID, that partnership would have never have formed. So it's a great thing, and it's a lot of fun. And like I said, that the goal is to benefit small businesses and medium-sized businesses in and around the Houston area. And that's why we have these sessions like we have here tonight, and all the original content that we're doing now and what's coming here in the future.
Gotcha. Now, there's so much information, though. I mean, we could probably get through a bunch of it, but some of the things that actually drew me towards the Collaborate group is just whenever the initial introduction and seeing the group and the way that it was administered or ran or the discussion topics and how everything was organized. I saw it and I definitely felt like there was some value there. And I thought, you know what, this is very interesting to me. I definitely want to be engaged with professionals like these that give this sort of communication that is organized, that is good, that is local. Yeah. And so that had a lot of appeal to me. Yeah. And you guys have been delivering because I've been keeping up, right, with the episodes, and I'm going, and and the message is the same, meaning I understand what you're saying. I think it's also with regards to like big media. It's like, hey, we have an opportunity for the local folks, to create the introductions for them who, as I'm starting to see, is like, they're kind of feeling like they don't have any options on these types of communication mechanisms.
Yeah, a lot of businesses feel like they're outpriced, and they can't advertise on a radio station or a television station anymore, and that's the truth. And so when you take Lisbeth, she's been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, so she has a real good understanding as to everybody that she works with, how they're evolving or try to evolve their business. And so we've taken that along with my communications background and Connect to Collaborate is one of those things. If you look at a television show and you see a 30-second commercial, I mean, that's essentially a 30-second elevator pitch. Whatever you're trying to communicate, if you're trying to sell one particular item or talk about a company, whatever it is, it's to the point, it's 30 seconds, and people know. And then you move on to the next thing, because also attention spans today. The one thing with Houston City Beat, with the original content that we're really challenged with, is in the old days, it was people would just change a channel. But now it's the scroll, because everybody's looking at it on their phone. So every 2.5 seconds, we have something moving in an episode of Houston City Beat, whether you realize it or not. It's designed to, there is some secret sauce to how we film it.
I gotcha.
So it's designed to move things along, to be entertaining, to be engaging, and really make it feel like people can be part of it. There in the Houston, greater Houston area.
I feel like Houston has, like, every part of Houston has its own separate identity. Houston's special like that. Like from Southwest to South Park, that's where I'm from. Third Ward. Even my mom would tell me, don't date girls from the north side. Girls from anything below I-10. That's my mom. Anyway, but we have all these identity. We hone ourselves. So how does Houston City Beat connect all of these suburbs and spots together? How do y'all do it?
Well, the really great thing, and I go back to Lisbeth, because she already had a bunch of people that she had been working with for a few years. And so when we met, that's the interesting thing. It's like we said, there's just something about that beat, from Tomball to Cypress Cave, all that stuff. She knew a lot of these people, and what I had seen was she basically had an unactivated or non-activated sponsorship area. Like, there was another way to help people that she was already working with. Let's give them an additional platform so they can advertise. So let's put some interesting content behind it that is really geared. If we're going to have it called Houston City Beat, let's really brand it to Houston and really tell these stories.
I think the like-minded individuals, you're linking them up. I love it.
And so everybody has a story to tell. In journalism and communications, right? Everybody has a story to tell. And so that's what we want to do, is we want to get everybody from the different parts of Houston, and then just really, like I said, just elevate, find a new way to engage people that she was already working with, and bring them into this original content and make them feel like, last week, I think it was Friday, we went out, there was a brand new financial advisor who had a very big milestone in his business. He has his own deal now, his own office. And so we went out there, and it's a new segment that we're going to call Celebrate Hugh. Celebrate Hugh. And so we're going to go out there. We already did. We did a short thing. We showed they had a ribbon cutting.
Nice.
And so we have segments like that. So it's, we went to the rodeo. We did something with a Sandlot baseball team. They had their opening day a couple of weekends ago. Just a bunch of stuff, artists from around Houston, just a lot of good stories from the Houston area.
Those are also kind of endless. I feel a lot of times everybody's distracted with watching like other people's stories, and it's like, oh, there's a story here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a story here.
Yeah.
Oh, let me do watching this and this. Like, hey, you know, you can creatable stories
Yeah.
that you can value for longer. You can go back and go, oh shit.
Yeah, and what we do is we go somewhere, and if we're going to do a feature on somebody, we'll sit down and we'll do a full-length interview. You know, I just let it go.
Yeah.
Elizabeth kind of controls the interview.
Yeah.
Let her reset it, and then I cut it, and then we condense it down, and then we take some B-roll, some beauty shots, wherever we're at, and then we combine it together. So that way, again, the whole thing is continuously moving.
Yeah.
And so one of the influences for Houston City Beat, I'll tell you, but I don't know if you're going to figure it out. But one of the main influences of how Houston City Beat is filmed.
Sure.
And I'm getting that people, because everybody keeps telling me it's very pleasant to watch. It's very easy to watch. And I said, okay, great, because one of the biggest influences is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh, cool.
And how that was filmed.
Man.
And he always filmed it from a wide angle. Something was always moving. Something was always playing in the background. And he was always talking to the camera.
Cool.
And even if you had a wide shot, there was something very calming about it, but very educational.
Yep.
Everybody remembers the crayon, how you make crayons and stuff.
Sure.
So even
Mr. Trolley.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of different ways. And so I also strategically shoot things from down low. Yeah. So you get a whole different vantage point from your eye level. And you see things differently than you normally would.
Yeah. You go through the effort. I'm going to get down here.
Mr. Mike Spielberg in the house, everybody.
So I'm also, I guess one of the things that helps too is I'm an artist. So I draw, I paint, I build models and stuff. So I see perspectives, I see compositions, and so that kind of helps with this type of production as well.
Gotcha.
So,
I'm going to just prove me more points. I can stretch.
HCB TV, yes.
Miss Genaire.
For a neighbor.
Hello.
Talk to us. What's up? Tell us
Right.
a little bit about yourself.
My name is Genaire Walker, also known on social media as Selected Attention.
Selected attention.
And that's going to be on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And what I do is I help people simplify their lives. So that's a great segue from what Mike was just talking about. You know, everybody's life was so complex and so crazy. And then COVID happened.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Right? And then COVID happened.
COVID happened.
And then people really started evaluating, is all this stuff that I have going on, all this busyness, everything, really worth it? You know, and so I produce content about simplifying your life so you can actually find your real and true focus, your real and true purpose, and hit that there. Now, what I also do, since COVID happened, everyone started working from home, right? And so everyone who used to wear business suits and all of this fancy, uncomfortable clothing is now working, you know, in footy stocks at their computer at home, right? And I thought that was a great opportunity for me to be, I'm a brand ambassador for Savvi Lifestyle Co., which has athletic and travel clothing, which is extraordinarily comfortable. So my personal motto is, work is hard, you might as well be comfortable. I really started a fitness journey during COVID, and I started realizing that when I looked different, I felt different, and I really needed to transition into dressing like the person that I wanted to become.
It
So
makes sense.
that's what got me started and interested in it. And the clothing was just beautiful. It was size inclusive all the way down to size 0, all the way past 3X, which is very difficult to find. And then once I started getting into the clothing and I started working out, I'm halfway through a weight loss journey, 40 pounds down. And what I realized after COVID happened is that we really need to focus in on what our purpose is and pay selected attention to the things that we are doing. And so what I like to do is I help inspire entrepreneurs. I want to give people joy and motivation to really figure out what their purpose is.
And make him look good.
And make them look good.
Wow.
Because if you look good, you feel good.
That's right.
That's right.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much. We definitely appreciate everybody's information here. I think there's a lot of value for everybody here, for somebody at some point in their life to want this information. You know what I mean?
And my website is savvi.com/selected attention.
Check the description below. We're going to put everybody's information in there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Perfect.
I have a question. So how like, do you help people figure out what their purpose on this planet is? How do you help someone hone that feeling?
Well, mine is a process of elimination.
Ooh.
So what I'm doing is we're peeling away everything that's distracting.
What do you not want to do? You want to do this?
What you
not
not
want to do this?
Right. How
That
many
makes
things,
sense.
How many things are pulling at your attention that are distracting
that
you
makes
from
sense.
what you really wanted to do? So I actually went on.
So you create a lot of single people.
Well, actually, it started through a divorce, so you're not entirely wrong. But we all come to those milestones that when we go through things where we have to really evaluate what's going to be important to us and what's going to be the driving factor that motivates us forward. For me, that is inspiring people to find what they really want to do by eliminating. If you interview entrepreneurs, right, many of them wear the same thing every day. Because they don't waste the bandwidth to figure out, what am I going to wear each day? Do I need these shoes or whatever? They're making big.
You don't know me, lady.
Like-
you don't know me.
No, like
you don't know me.
Zuckerberg.
She knows me.
Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, all of them,
Same
right?
gray sweater he would wear every single day.
Right. And so what I found is a clothing line that was in line with that. And I was like, everything's comfortable. Everything's beautiful. I don't have to work on it. I can walk out of away from my computer and into a podcast and feel perfectly comfortable in what I have on.
That's excellent. And folks like me, I hate shopping. I hate shopping. Wifey, I love you. I know. So we have this professional lady that says she's gonna make everything go with regards to the clothing. I'm gonna see you the link. I'll let y'all figure it out.
Right now, we just started with
Don't look at my
men's
face.
line like last month, so it's not very old. The men's line, there's not a lot yet, but it's still oncoming.
Women better see that's the
For the
market.
women,
This is
if
how
you're
you work
ready,
it.
I'm ready to help you.
You want to market? Hey, go to the market. This is the part of the experience that you can get with this. Oh, you know what? There is
Perfect.
potential market. I'm
Yep.
telling you because I'm living it.
Yes.
It's close from stores like 4 or 5 years old. I can say.
Oh, and I'm a Houston transplant, so I'm a transplant into Houston. I say that I am fully Houstonian now because 50 degrees feels cold to me at this point. But I love the city because the city is so diverse and so rich that it allows you to be whoever you want to become.
Absolutely.
I 100%. There's something for every. If you want to do something like this, there's a little bit.
If you
for
want to be a
everybody.
cowboy, you
What-
can
yes,
do that.
yes,
You want to be a tech
yes,
person,
that-
an oil
that's right,
tycoon,
that's
a
right.
beach
Cowboy.
bum,
There-
a shopping fashionista, whatever you want to do, you can do it all here in Houston. And that's why I love the city.
Yeah, and nobody's gonna say nothing. Seriously, what?
That's a new segment for Mike. If you want it, Hugh's got it.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. That's a good one.
I like
That's the
that.
big advantage.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
host
take
a
it.
tour for that.
That's right.
I'll just break 10%.
Cool. Well, at this point, we went through this first set. So as Mike was mentioning, there's other situation happening. We were supposed to go on rotation, but I think everybody was like, what else is everybody going to say?
Yeah, I think we just broke it down into halves. Who
Yeah,
want to do that
yes,
part? Who want to do
perfect.
this?
So I think the best way to finish that off is to get like 2 episodes. You know what I mean? So that it's not a one long episode with one half of it, more like just get 2. Get introduction all the way around. We figure out a fun name to keep up till eternity, right? It's all about the name. You know, it's all about the name, right? It's all about the name. So talk about something that's interesting right now, so we can make sure we include it in the topic line. Right? We got Astros topics. We got sunlight, right? Sun is popular. Clothing, insurance, taxes. All of these into one time. Sounds good?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. Anything else? Anybody else before we close out?
We always have shows coming up.
Yep, always have shows.
We have a big one we have coming up. Second Saturdays of every month.
Yep.
We're going to be over at Bad Astronaut, working with the artists who were displaced from the unfortunate fire at the Winter Street Studios.
Yep.
So come check us out over there every second Saturday. I will be there hosting, walking around, high-fiving. It's a really amazing place. And also, by the way, folks, if you have children, a lot of times people give that excuse, it's the weekend, I'm with my kids. I just want to sit on my porch, drink a beer, hang with my kids. Come to Bad Astronaut because they have little kids there. They're totally kid-friendly. It's a brewery. So you can bring children in there. So they're having like 1-year-old birthday
Where's the
parties.
location? Where's it bad?
It is on Fulton, over just above I-10, over there by where Mike is from. Right, where I was not allowed to date women over there. But I can now because my mom can't come anymore. Heck yeah.
Awesome. Anything else? Anybody else? Good? Cool. See you guys next time.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate the platform.
Hey, thank you for coming, guys. Thank you for coming.